Dogs are 8:18. DeliKateSSen, a story of two brothers orphaned in the Holocaust who own a struggling Jewish deli, DeliKateSSen, in New York City in the early 1970s. And now their deli is being threatened by a new, larger German deli. Here with more on the show, where you can see it at the Adobe Theater, are Richard and Cheryl Atkins. So good to have you today.
Nice
and thanks
to
for
be
coming
here.
in to talk about Theater Thursday. This sounds like a fascinating story.
It is. Thanks for having us.
A lot of history involved in this, too.
Yes, it is.
Tell me about the story. What's it all about?
And I'll throw that over
Yeah,
to
sure.
our playwright.
Well, it starts in 1972, a couple of months after the Munich Olympic disaster where the Israeli athletes were killed. So the dramaturge on the script is Mark Medoff, who wrote Children of a Lesser God.
Okay.
And he wanted me to set the play at that time to stir up more angst from the older brother, David, who has not let go of his anger and hate towards the Germans. So they're there struggling in 1972 Manhattan. It was not a great time to be in Manhattan. The Bronx was burning. They were not doing well financially.
The city was going bankrupt as
And
well.
then all of a sudden they see something across the street that's all boarded up. They don't know what it is. They get a visit from their rabbi who tells them who is opening up there because he knows the tenant. And it's a new German, larger deli with a license for beer.
Interesting.
And that's what sets the older brother off, whereas the younger brother wants to forget everything and move on.
And the drama continues from there.
Exactly.
What inspires you to write this? I'm curious about that. And we're going to talk about directing it, too.
Well, I grew up in a very Jewish neighborhood in Baltimore. And my dad was old school, and he once said the only good German was a dead German. And I didn't feel that that was right as a young kid. And that kind of put the seeds in my mind as a young kid. But then I always had this thing about a German and a Jewish delicatessen, you know, competition. And then the Holocaust just seemed like a logical thing to inject into the story.
Cheryl, you and Richard have worked together for a long time.
Yeah, and I think the inspiration setting in New York, we're from New York. We lived there a long, long time, 27 years. So we know Jewish delis. So it's kind of easy to write about. And what attracted me was, besides, you know, reading every iteration of this play, probably 11 different edits of it, and seeing it evolve. We did a reading of it about 2 years ago at the Vortex Theater, and the audience response was phenomenal. So it inspired him to just keep going. Don't stop. You've really got something here. So it's evolved over the last 2 years. Mark has worked on it with Richard, and it's at the point now where we just know it's ripe. It's so ready for the audience. The actors are just very anxious for the folks who arrive tonight.
It sounds to me like, in combination with history, that an audience member might learn from this, that there's also a lesson about maybe cooperation, some good lessons that come out of it as well, right? Some themes?
Sure. Hatred, obviously.
Yeah.
And all the things that are happening today, anti-Semitism, the attacks in Paris on the Jewish market, in Brussels they had an attack on the museum, and even here in Albuquerque at Nosh, that new deli down in Nob Hill, where they had anti-Semitic slurs. So anti-Semitism is still alive and rampant here, but also the fact that, you know, the German people have had to live with the stigma of Hitler and the Third Reich for all these years. And I don't think it's fair to future generations of Germans to have to always deal with that.
Oh, sounds like it's fascinating. It plays
Yeah.
out on stage. How can people see it? When does it start?
It starts actually tonight. It's
good.
it's a free performance tonight, but we open officially tomorrow night. Run through the month of April on Friday, Saturday evenings at 7:30, and on Sundays at 2 o'clock. We have a matinee every Sunday through the month of April.
And you're in the play, right?
Yes.
As well.
And
And you're behind the scenes. But
I'm directing it,
yeah.
and just letting the audience know, we do have a special performance on April 16th. It's a Holocaust Remembrance Day, and we have a rabbi coming to address the audience. The actors will be there for a talk back, and some people really enjoy that, where they can come and meet the playwright, talk to the actors, what it was like to build their character and develop the story, and it's really been an amazing experience. I have to tell you, I usually direct comedies, and having been able to jump into this realm has been
Fascinating.
fascinating
Yeah.
experience.
What a story. Well, we appreciate it. DeliKateSSen, and it's at the Adobe Theater. Richard and Cheryl Atkins, thank you so much for showing us
you.
that.
Thank you for having us.
Wish you the best of luck in the performances. We'll be
Thank you.
watching.
It's going to be a good run.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.